So seeing me for the first time, my name is Otieno Paul Peter. I am an author of two books. I love training. I do it as a passion. Long time ago, when I finished college, I learned that passing well and getting a degree is one thing, but living your dream is yet another. There were skills that people needed to uh, learn. I noted that there are skills that people need to learn in order to be able to propel them towards their dreams. You could have first class honors in whichever profession, but by the end of the day, you don't get where you want to be. In fact, it's said that if you survey people coming from college, perhaps around age 25, and you talk to them, you'll realize that they are very optimistic in life. They are excited about the future and they expect a lot. But you come down 40 years down the line at age 65, just 1 out of 100 is actually living his or her dream. Then 4 are fairly successful. 5 still have to work to be able to survive. Others depend on their children, relatives, friends, well-wishers, and about 39 of them are normal. The question is, what is it that takes people up and others are just but average and trying to be contented? And that was the advent of Live Your Dream. I started learning these skills and sharing them with people, which is part of what my purpose, life purpose, what I consider to be my life purpose is. So we will continue to know more about each other. And generally, I founded this organization called Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited. I also have another organization which I started a little earlier called ICT Gurus EA Limited, through which we do hosting, we do web development, we do all sorts of things and consultancy related to ICT. I am a businessman, so to speak, and I help people to analyze their businesses and project, come up with new strategies. So for this topic of today, it's interesting. It's one of those premium topics that I've never actually done it for free. We've never done it for free as Live Your Dream, but I think this situation calls for it because people are going through various troubles in life, and I think it's the best that I am or we should be able to do. And at this moment, I would like to hear from some of the audience here in present about some of the questions you have that you'd like to be addressed or you'd like to be touched. If that is touched, you'll feel satisfied. If it's not, then perhaps you'll feel a little uh, uh, dissatisfied. Maybe some of you can just you can unmute yourself and share some of the questions that could be deep inside your heart, some of the areas you'd like to be touched, or some expectations that you have. Yes. I'm listening. Yes, 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 yes.
Hello, Paul. Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, yes, you can, you can.
I'm just wondering, maybe if you can touch this.
Yes. Go ahead.
Why is it that there are couple ways? How come there are people who make wealth in very weird ways? They have kind of business that unscrupulous business, their conmanship, their thieves. They seem to get it so well, yet those who are straightforward seems to be struggling. Maybe if you can circle that, please.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Musa. A good one. Yes, thank you very much. Another one?
Hi, Paul.
Yes, yes. Kilote, Masi, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My question, I just wanted to know how many times should you follow up on a client, especially on sales?
How many?
If not, how many times should you do a follow up if there's
Yes.
no response?
Uh-huh.
And this is a client who is able to buy your product, but you don't get response on their end.
Yeah.
How many times should you follow, even if there's no response? And my
Okay.
second question is, what
Yes.
is the answer to the I acknowledge the receipt of your email? The client has just told you, I acknowledge the receipt of your email. You know,
Yeah.
she
Mm.
hasn't touched, or he has not touched about the product or something. So
Mm.
how should you go about it? And then you don't want to be so nagging to the client. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mercy. Another one? Any other? I hope nobody will feel left out. Good. Seems the other ones are fine. With the questions we'll perhaps handle, and there will still be opportunity to ask. So this is not the end of the story. Yeah, this is not the end of the story. We'll still be able to ask. Let me just share my screen again. Mm, where is it? Okay. So uh, I've gotten those two questions, or three questions, one from Musa and two from Mercy. Now, some of the questions that I will also try to answer along the way would include what selling means. You know, most people take themselves as, I really don't know how to sell. I'm not a salesperson. What does it mean to sell? We should be able to understand that concept, at least if we are interested in personal development, if we're interested in growth. As the topic suggested, you learn to sell and grow. The question is, where do you want to grow to? Maybe you want to grow in your career, you want to grow in your leadership, you want to grow in your organization, whichever the type of growth. Does it have any relationship with selling? Is there a relationship between leadership and selling? That's part of what we will be able to answer. The other one is, why do others sell more than the rest? You might find that some people are just outdoing the rest. They are selling the same product, same marketplace, same prices, same everything, but somewhat, some people will just do better. Yes, that is selling proper. The other one is, why do people buy and why don't they buy? Yes, those are very interesting questions. The other one is, how can I improve? You and me, how can we improve? How can we do better? And together with the ones that you have mentioned, we will try to go through them. Along the way, I know people will pose more questions and we will be able to tackle them to the best of our ability, knowledge. Now, I'd like us to start from this. Is it a theorem? Yeah, my background is science, physics, and that's why I'm an analyst. I love analyzing things, analyzing facts, and basically depending on truth. And so, this is something I learned in linear algebra, that if A equals B, and C equals B, then what does it mean? It simply means that A is equal to C. You see, that's a fact. If A equals to B and C is also equal to B, then A is equal to C. What do I mean by this? Usually, how do we define sales? Sales, enough people have defined it as influence. I'm trying to influence you or to share my idea with you so that you are able to buy my perspective. You're able to buy the way I think about something, the way I reason about something. You're buying my position. That is, I'm trying to sell to you that idea. I'm trying to sell to you that concept. Perhaps it's something to do with the phone. We are arguing, or we are trying to debate which is the best phone model to buy. And if you talk to me, perhaps I'll be able to say, I love Huawei because of the following. And somebody will say, I love Samsung because of the following, whatever. Then by the end of the day, you're able to buy an opinion. That actually is selling. And the same thing is leadership. Leadership is usually defined with the same word, influence. So a leader will try to influence people towards a particular direction. A salesperson influence people towards a particular direction. Therefore, these two are one and the same thing. In fact, I usually consider it that a typical salesperson is just but a salesperson, but above that, we have leadership. Because as you grow in leadership, you become a better salesperson. And at a higher level, we even have entrepreneurs, because entrepreneur must be one, first and foremost, a great leader in order to lead all the people in his or her organization, a team, and to lead processes and to cause things to happen. And he must or she must be a salesperson. You cannot succeed in any venture if you don't take the concept of selling seriously. And this is why many people collapse. This is why many people quit their business or their ventures much earlier, because they think people will buy products just because it's a product. That's a lie. The fact is, people will have to know about that product. Somebody's got to tell them, and it starts with the entrepreneur. That's the basic fact. And therefore, sales equals leadership. If you learn more about selling, you learn more about leadership. If you learn more about leadership, you learn more about selling. In fact, a certain speaker, Jim Rohn, said, instead of teaching your salespeople much about selling, teach them about leadership. And then what? They'll become better salespersons. And that's why leaders sell more. If you're in an organization, I've always asked many organizations this whenever I'm running a training, that between your leader and yourselves, who sells more? And you'll realize the leader sells more because he's learned to lead. That's rested. There is a relationship between sales and leadership. Good to know that. So therefore, there is another definition I like. What is it selling? What is selling? And selling simply means transfer of enthusiasm. I've got to be excited about something in order to transfer that enthusiasm to somebody else, to be infectious enough. Just like a baby asking you for something, they will never come just normally. They will come with some other ways to influence you. Sometimes it's the smile, it's the laugh, whatever, all sorts of things. Whenever you're going to sell something, you must be somebody enthusiastic enough. You are excited enough about this particular product or this particular idea or this particular item, whatever it is. And so you cannot sell something that you are cold about, an idea that you've not really bought. You see, so if you want to sell more, you must increase your enthusiasm about this particular product. And this is something that is infectious, very infectious. I hope that is clear. So the question is, how come some people sell more while others barely survive? Why is it? And we've been told that if you follow what successful people, if you do what successful people do, if you follow their principles, if you follow their footsteps, then you end up getting the results they get, because success leaves tracks. It said, success leaves tracks. So wherever, whatever somebody has done, somebody else can do and be able to get the same results. It's called the law of cause and effects. I love saying it like this. What causes something to happen will always cause that particular thing to happen. That's the way it works. And so if we want to be able to succeed in a particular manner, we can always find out what other people who've succeeded have done. And maybe we improve on whatever they've been able to do. So let's also answer this question quite fast. Why do people buy Perhaps somebody wants to chip in on this. Somebody wants to share what they think. Why do people buy? Anyone who wants to share a thought? Why do you think they will buy from you?
Because there's a need.
Because there is a need. Thank you very much, Rose. Yes.
Because of feelings.
Because of feelings. Nice. People buy because of feelings, emotions. Yeah. Some other contribution?
Because you have convinced them to.
A nice one. Yeah. You've convinced, you've been able to persuade them to buy. Good. Good. All those are good. Good. Any other that wants to add?
Also, if they want to try new things.
They want to try new things. Good.
Because you've pestered them a lot.
You pushed them, and now they are feeling like, let me get rid of you. In fact, I have a story about that. Somebody who kept pushing somebody about insurance. He went to his place. They talked up to midnight. The guy is checking his clock. This other person doesn't seem to get the signal. Then he asked him, what does it take to get rid of you? Then he gave him an application form, and the guy signed. He said, just that, you would have told me a long time ago, I would have gone to sleep. So that also works. That also works. Now, here is it. Let me give you my well thought idea, and this is the truth. And you need to remember it, that one, people will buy from you because they know you. They don't usually buy from people they don't know. And this is why in a particular product, somebody will come, present, talk about it, but then somebody else comes and writes on the presentation that somebody else did because they are known to each other. And this is why you can call somebody about a particular product, you do cold calling, all those things. And by the end of the day, it's not that this person doesn't want it. Along the way, somebody else, maybe a neighbor, maybe a friend, maybe through some connection, they say it, and he actually says, somebody told me about this. I actually know it. When can we get started? Something like that. So people need to know you. You need to be known to them. And they need to like you. If they don't like you, they are not likely to buy from you. In fact, if they buy because you're pestering them, as somebody said, that will be the end of the story. Remember, a real sale will happen when there is repeated sales. If you are in politics, somebody votes for you today, votes for you another time, votes for you. That is somebody who's really bought you. You see, if you are selling milk, somebody keeps buying just your milk. There are lots of brands, lots of varieties. That is somebody who's bought you. But there are those of us who kill customers, who kill the people who've bought us. They buy us, and then what? We break their trust. So they will not buy because they know you, they like you, they trust you. But you have a responsibility after the first sale to prove them right. Why? As one of the participants said, people buy out of emotions. That emotion has to do with liking, trust, and things like that. But then you're going to, they are going to justify it with their logics that I actually made the right choice. And then what happens along the way? They realize that they did make a wrong choice because, as one of you said, you just convinced them, you outwitted them, you twisted them. That is not selling. Selling is not twisting people or trying to bulldoze them into just buying your product. They must be willing to buy, and you must make them find a reason to buy. And if otherwise, they will not become repeat customers. You will have trouble because people who buy from it's what other people call hit and run. You buy, you make a quick sale, end of the story. Very big problem. So why do people buy? Remember this always, because they know you, they like you, they trust you. And you've got to be that person whom they will always know, like, and trust. Otherwise, that is the end of that sale. Yeah, if you're a leader somewhere and they've believed in you, then you will betray their trust. End of that, because you cannot lead people who don't like you, who don't trust you. They will somewhat betray you. That's the way it works. So if you do what successful people do, you get what successful people get. If you follow the tracks that are left by success, you get the success. And these are some of the things that are very basic in getting to move whatever the idea that you have, whatever the product that you have. You've got to understand it. Most times people don't understand much about their products. And that's why when they're asked a particular question, they will not be able to convincingly give the answer. And perhaps that is the time they want to call somebody else. Let me find out more details, then I call you. It doesn't work. I remember this very well. I'm in a number of businesses, and I've been in direct selling for more than 10 years. I realized that the moment before I knew my product, and knowing your products include using them, it includes using them. Most of us, we want to know the product, but we just want to know how good it would be for others, but not for us. We don't want to experience them. That is somebody who cannot sell that particular product. So you've got to know that product. Before I knew my products, I couldn't sell them. Before I understood them, I couldn't sell them. And the moment I started learning about them and getting to master all their benefits, that is what you need to know, the benefits of your products. Then you will be able to explain better why somebody else needs them. In fact, if you can't see why you need them yourself, you're not going to see why somebody else needs them. And that's why two people in the same organization, one sells big, one doesn't sell. Another one in the insurance industry, somebody was asked, went to sell $1 million insurance policy. Then he was asked, he was wondering why he wasn't selling. Then another colleague of his asked him, do you have $1 million insurance policy? He said, no, that's why you don't sell. The moment he bought one, he started selling big time. Know your product. Believe in your product. There is nothing bigger than this. You know, some of us go out there, you perhaps want to sell a policy, sell an idea, an agenda. You are leading a particular group. You've come up with this brilliant idea. Like right now, the world is going through certain crises. And what should be happening is new ideas come in. Somebody somewhere has brilliant ideas, but is not able to put that idea forward because one, he doesn't believe in the idea, which is the product. Two, he doesn't believe in himself or herself. If we don't believe in our product, we are not going to sell. Having faith in what we have. And guess what? The first product. What is the first product that we are supposed to sell? Remember the previous slide. People, they buy because they, what did we say? People buy because they
know you,
they know you,
trust
they
you,
like you,
Like
and
you.
They
trust you.
They
Trust
trust
you.
So which is the first product that we need to sell?
ourselves.
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 You are the first product. So if you don't believe in yourself, guess what? Nobody is going to buy you. If you don't believe in your product, nobody is going to buy it. If you don't believe in your idea, no one is going to buy it. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much you have invested. All that doesn't matter. You've got to start by selling the most important product, and that is yourself. And that is why personal selling, personal branding, building your brand, your name is one of the major steps you are going to pick, you're going to take in order to grow, whether it's a career, whether it's a product you're pushing in the market. That's just the way it is. Believe in your product. Product number one, yourself. Then lots of people go talking about the features of the product. You see, let's talk of a phone. This one is made of this quartz, whatever, plasma, all sorts of big terminologies. Most people are not interested in the features. They just want to know what is in it for me. How is it going to help me? So translate those features into benefits. Why do I need this product? What gap is it going to fill? If we can't really locate the benefits related to these features, end of the story. And that's why some of us might not be able to successfully sell a particular product because we are glued into its features, and more so if we are engineers. When I realized some of these skills that they are necessary, I realized that in organizations, there are people who are in the front and people who are in the back end. The front end people, the front office, whatever. Some of these people tend to grow much faster, by the way, than some of us who are in the back end. You see, if you are an engineer, you are always concerned about the technicalities, the big details, the features and things like that. Somebody who is in the front knows what the person wants to know, and that is the benefits. By the way, there is a problem with the concept of selling. It's good to know, more so for younger people, even people in college, that selling is perhaps the biggest and the most important profession, because no salesperson ever gets retrenched except if they don't perform. They are always required. Top salespeople are always headhunted. I have friends with whom we finished college. Somebody gets into banking and gets into sales, starts selling business accounts. I have a friend who started selling for Barclays, the students' accounts. In a short while, he was doing great. He headed the branch and became head of operation and started being picked from everywhere. People keep asking perhaps why Bob Collin had no degree but was able to climb the ladder. It is all boiled in this selling thing. You're able to work well, you're able to sell yourself well, sell your brand, sell your ideas, and mobilize people to follow the same idea. That is selling. So we must be able to just not become back-end people. You could be a back-end, yes, person, but you're an accountant, but also learn what it means to sell the benefits of the products. And that's why some people who go to consultancy, maybe they're accountants, maybe they're advocates, they don't seem to be growing. Maybe they are doctors. They're running clinics, they don't seem to be growing. And you wonder why doctors can only run clinics and not hospitals, because this concept of selling, they are more back-end. We've got to know benefits more than features. Then the big thing, tell a story. Facts tell, but stories sell. Tell stories about your product. That's the way it works. If it's a medical, a pharmaceutical product, tell how has it helped other people. If it's some idea, tell how, if you have certain stories, tell them. If you don't have, you better start getting them. So just get to know that based on the fact that people buy out of emotions, you need to find things that rhyme with people. And this is why big leaders, great leaders are storytellers. They have some sense of humor, and they also have a better way of telling stories. And so people tend to follow them. Or some other humor at the end, and that's the way it ends. Somewhat, people will follow these people with stories to tell. That's the way it works. I didn't make it up. Yesterday, I was listening to one of our lecturer who kept teaching them just using story. He was teaching them technical things, metaphysics, but every time with the story, And at one point he asked, why do you keep teaching us using a story? And then he said, in fact, to answer your question, now use appropriate sales processes. Appropriate sales process. Most people don't even know what process a sales process is, but depending on your organization or your product, you can always have different processes. I've always developed a few depending on what product I'm dealing with. But just in typical selling, you also need to have some selling process. A typical one would be like this: prospecting. The idea of getting to identify who actually needs your product. Yes. By the way, there is a difference between a prospect and any other person whom other people call suspects. A prospect is this person who is in need of that product and can afford it. Yeah, not just desiring for it, but also has the capacity to afford it. Identifying those people, booking appointments with them, or setting up engagements. And this is where now you also come up with presentations relevant to your specific item or product or agenda or organization, whatever. And then you handle certain questions and objections that people would have. You also need to preconceive them and find a reason or find an answer, not a convincing, not trying to untwist, like I said. And then how do you close? How do you close a sale? How do you call for action? How do you follow up? Like Mercy asked, you keep following. Things don't seem to work. How many times? Well, we'll come to that. And you need to know how to even get referrals. Those are some of the basic processes that I always include in designing a sales process, something like that. In the presentation, you need to know the selling psychology. You need to know how to position what you need to say and how you need to say it. Knowing what to say is one thing. Knowing how to say it is a big deal. So, Mercy, this is yours. Sales statistics. This is according to the US National Sales Executive Association. 48% of salespeople never follow up with the prospect. They say he refused. In fact, I've always told people this. Remember to always tell people about your products because you never know when they are going to need it. You told me this year, but perhaps I won't need it this year, but I will meet somebody who needs it and I will recommend because you told me and you've always talked to me about it. The other thing is, I may need it in 2 years' time. By that time, you should have kept me reminded so that I'm always in your list, or you are always in my list. So remember, when somebody says no, as somebody said, there are people who are negative. They've got to say no at least 7 times. So just keep it in mind that 48% of our salespeople, or people who should be selling, will always quit at the first call. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. And then there are 12% who go to the third mile. And then there are these 10% of salespeople who make it more than 3. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% are made on the second contact. But guess what? 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. The question is, should you be a pester to somebody? You must find a better way of making somebody keep you in mind, going back to why they buy. They know you, they like you, they trust you. You will always tell people about your product without them realizing that you are actually selling to them. You need to think about that. So sales is, you will always keep following up with them. You build relationship. Remember, they will buy out of relationship. You build relationship so that they are in your network. So seeing you alone can remind them. The moment they spot that need, maybe they don't need it right now, but they will spot that need, then they will remember you. There are people I've always told about my products. Say, for example, hosting. And they're just not in need. Maybe they're going to start an organization. But later, when they are in need or they meet somebody else who's in need, they'll remember because I'm always in their picture. So somewhat, always, there is no number. That reminds me of when Peter asked the Lord, Jesus, how many times must I forgive? As many as 7 times? And he told, no. Always forgive. Yeah. So these are basic principles that are very important for everyone who sells. We will not go, as you know, this is just a 1 hour interaction. We can't go into very many details. And this is usually a very long training that can take 3 days. of 6 hours a day. So basic principles that I will share for now, for you and for your team, includes: one, they buy you first before they buy from you, and then they buy from your company. It doesn't matter which company you are in. If they don't buy you, some of us go to people with the name of the company. It doesn't matter. You could be selling the same product that somebody else is selling from the same company, but somebody will sell more. It is not the company, it is you. Did they buy you? No, they won't buy from you. So they will buy you, and then they buy from you, and then they buy from your company. That's the way it works. It's always worked for me like that, and it's worked for people, and it will always work for you. You better remember that. And this is why I keep telling people that if you are in an organization, don't think of yourself like, I'm not a salesperson. Everybody in an organization is a salesperson, because perhaps you're a driver, but if you drive recklessly along the way, it is your organization that goes. If you put on some t-shirt that belongs to some of your organization, you are branding that particular organization. If you talk to somebody badly in the front office or wherever you are interacting with them, they don't see you, they see your organization. And so even when companies are retrenching, and sometimes you feel, I just did my part. No, you didn't do your part, perhaps, because how much did you do in contributing to the income, contributing to the bottom line? How many customers did you chase away because of your interaction with them? Or maybe you did something they didn't like. Maybe there is a way you handled somebody along the way. So all of us in an organization represent the face of that organization. That should be clear. And so if people don't buy us, our own selves will cause them not to buy from our company because of what they know about us. It's important to remember that. Then build relationship. People will buy from you because you have a relationship. And remember, it is not just buying once, as I said. They need to be buying from you again and again and again. That's the only way you know you have a customer. Remember, your income is directly proportional to the number of customers that you serve. If you're serving one customer, that is the way your income is. If you're serving many customers, that's it. And so you always want to serve more and more customers. And that can only happen if you're able to build trust, you're able to build a brand in yourself and build good relationships so that these people keep coming to you. For example, I've had certain customers for more than 10 years. They've always bought from me, despite many other people in the market. Why? Because we've built good relationship. We are good friends. I supply them, and I don't break the trust that we have with them. This one usually comes, in many organizations, people think that the sales people are different from customer service or customer support people. This is a big mistake. These people should be working hand in hand, because managing a customer begins from the point of sale. You go promise heaven, you can't even deliver it, you hand it down to the customer service people. It's a big mistake. I've seen it many times. When I was working for an ISP, our salespeople used to do exactly that. They promise somebody, maybe goes to some Asian organization, promises, we are going to give you internet this afternoon. While they know clearly well that the CPE products, the customer premise equipment, the router that we talk about, that they should give in order to get internet, is not even there. It's still being shipped. The ones that were in stock are finished. Or maybe that area is still not well covered with internet, but they will promise big bandwidth and things like that. Then you start wondering, these people keep calling, they had signed a check. And you can always know when an organization is likely to go down. It starts like that. Build relationship. People will buy from you because they know you, they love you, they like you, they trust you. You've built a relationship, you've built a brand. If you betray that trust, you can only blame yourself. And remember, people get retrenched because there is no money coming in, because there is no sales. Why is there no sales? Relationship maybe got broken at some point. And that's why some people usually think like, oh, it's really not my work. It's everyone's work to build an organization, because you're in that ship together. If it sinks, everyone sinks. Just that That's just the way it is. People buy with emotions. They buy with their feelings, then they justify with their minds. They justify with their logic. I did the right thing. I remember most times when I was buying things from the streets, after buying, I really don't want to check again anywhere else so that I would not find a better deal and regret it. I buy and leave. Yeah, I don't want to check again. And I want to believe that I made the right choice. I can get disappointed the moment I realize I made the wrong choice. A number of times I've made wrong choices. A long time ago when we were in college, we went to buy a radio for a friend of mine. And because we did not have plenty of cash, we went to look for a bargain. So we went somewhere in Luthuli Avenue down towards River Road and got a good bargain, Sony. The radio was a problem. We tried to tune it. It wasn't working well. They tested it for us, but it wasn't really clear, but we thought, well, we will work with it. This radio, when we reached a few times, I tried to fine tune it. It wasn't working. Then the power supply burned, and then I chose to open it because of my technical background. I realized that even the fine tuning knob wasn't working. Guess what? Do you think we went back to that street to buy? Not really. I've done that a few other times. So I know we buy with our emotions, then we want to justify with our minds and logic. But if we find ourselves wrong, our emotion is hurt. We are wounded. We don't want to go that direction again. There is another thing. When we present ourselves as salespeople, nobody wants to listen to us. Why? People want to buy, but they don't want to sell. They don't want to be sold to. That's why you will walk into a supermarket and you are checking your own things and you are just happy until somebody comes and starts asking you, would you like to buy this and this? You start feeling like, now that's not very good. Yeah. So you must be a solutions provider. You're providing a solution to a particular problem. You're a consultant. But if you're just a salesperson, things might not work very well. You'll not sell as much as you should or as you can. So basic laws about this, there is a law of large numbers. Yeah, somebody said, I make up in numbers what I lack in skill. That is, if you throw mud into the wall, some will stick. Yeah, a friend of mine, Jim Rohn, I love listening to him. He said, even the worst salesperson can always sell by asking people the wrong question. You meet everybody. I know you don't want to buy anything today. Do you? No, I don't. I know you don't want to buy anything today. Do you? No, I don't. You don't want to buy. You're not going to buy anything today. By the end of the day, you'll meet somebody who will say, who told you I don't want to buy? Maybe I'm going to buy. What is it that you're selling? And they'll buy. Law of large numbers. If you meet enough people, you're likely to bump into people who are willing to buy. And so, large numbers. Sowing and reaping. This is one of my favorite. There is a time to sow and a time to reap. And if you sow sparingly, you reap sparingly. If you sow bountifully, you reap bountifully. And when you're sowing, you know that naturally some seed will fall by the wayside and the birds will pick them. Others on the rock, they will be excited for the time being about your product, but then you follow up, they don't pick your corn. And then others in the thorns, somebody will go out, talk them out of your product. But then ultimately, some will fall on the good soil and they will grow bountifully. They'll buy 30%, 60%, 100%, they will buy. And you cannot force also the people who can buy 30 to reach 60 or to reach 100. Yes, but the person who can buy 30, buying 10, you can also help them to be able to buy 30. So there is that law of sowing and reaping, which we can talk about much longer. There are seasons. There is a season, a time to plow, a time to plant, a time to reap. You cannot just start earning from your sales before you see the large numbers, before you understand the seasons. There are businesses that are in seasons. That also plays a dynamic. Most people quit when they go through the first depression. Then next time somebody calls you, you tell them, no, I stopped selling that thing. No, I no longer do that. That is a basic problem with most of us Kenyans. Today I'm selling quail eggs. Tomorrow I'm selling fish. The other time I'm going to sell masks. And then I'm going to sell whatever is in season. We are going with season. Then we are known for not much. Nobody knows you for anything. They can't remember. Sometimes people call me after like 2 years. Do you still sell such and such a product? I said, yes. Anytime you can always rely on me, I will always sell it. Just give me a call. I'm always the same. Always understand seasons. There is the law of averages. Law of averages is very important for every person selling. Not everyone is going to buy your idea. Just get to know that some will, some won't, so what? Somehow, some will. That's a good thing to remember. Some will, some won't, so what? Somehow, some will. We call it SW rule. You see, why? Because we say, for example, your averages could be, if you talk to 10, you're likely to get 3 appointments and 1 sale. So if you want to get 10 sales, you may need to talk to 100, get 30 appointments, and then 1 sale. That's the way it is. Law of averages. It works differently for different people. And when you up your skill, averages go up. They work for you. So you can always work on your skill level. And then what? You improve on your averages. There is something else. There are a few things that beat the law of averages. Even in this season, this is what you need. Law of expectation. Law of expectation. Only expectors mothers deliver. You must expect to win to win. You must expect to sell in order to sell. You must expect it. If you don't expect it and you talk like, hey, with this season, I don't think anybody is willing to buy. Yes, your confession will become true. Your prophecy will be valid because the law of expectation dictates that you can only get what you expect. By the way, I tell people this without mincing words. If you expect to get sick, you'll get sick. Somebody once gave us an example that whenever there is something very important coming for you, an appointment or whatever, some event, how come you hardly get sick or you hardly get interfered with? Because you don't expect it. You expect things just to run. We must learn, a salesperson, a leader must learn to be somebody who expects things to go right. Yes, well, you can put contingencies just in case things go wrong, but that should not be your expectation. Your expectation is it's going to work. That's it. If you don't expect to win, you're not going to win. If you don't expect to sell, you're not going to sell. We are given 2 scenarios. Probably a lot of you have read about this, that 2 salespeople are sent to sell shoes. Let's say in Migingo Island. They arrive there, and what happens? One of them realizes that nobody has shoes on. He says, wow, this seems like a place where nobody needs shoes. So I won't bother. He calls back, please send me transport. I need to come back. Nobody needs shoes here. Nobody has any shoes on. And then the other colleague says, wow, this is a good place. Everyone actually needs a pair because none has. And 2 people, 2 different conclusions, same situation. Then somebody sells big time, somebody doesn't sell. We are also told of 2 storms, a stormy day, 2 salespeople wake up. Wow, with weather like this, nobody expects you to sell anything. They go back to sleep. Somebody says, with weather like this, everyone is in the house. Everyone can buy. Law of expectation. The other one is law of attraction. You only get when you attract. We cannot get anything that we did not first envision in our minds. That's the way it works. And we are running out of time. I want to conclude by the following. You can sell. Everyone can. And it's a noble profession. You just need to be a professional salesperson in order to be a great leader. Upskill. The more you sell, the better you grow. The more you grow. That's the way it works. Now, just briefly about some of my books, and then we will ask questions. I wrote the first book called Live Your Dream. My passion is always to help people to live their dreams. In this, simple, clear, to follow, I intended it for every audience with a dream. And it's meant to be simple enough and people are able to follow it, detailing the 7 steps that people take in achieving their dreams. The 7 Ds, I call them: achieving the life you desire, one step at a time, dissecting the secret. The other one that came out last year is the making of a symphony orchestra, timeless leadership. This I've used to ensure that I distill all the ideas I've gathered about leadership over the years. It's my pet subject. You can always engage us as Live Your Dream, me and the rest of us, whenever you need trainings on leadership, trainings on sales, among others, including customer-related things. We just need to work with you on a customized, a tailor-made training, business consultations or ICT consultations. Whenever you have team building related things, you can always also join our startup integrated services. We have a startup integrated services, like you want to register a company or a business, we can help you get that, get you the PIN registration certificate, everything. We get to you the domain, we host you, we give you website, emails. Very reliable, by the way, to the best of my knowledge, perhaps in the whole of East and Central Africa. We get you logos and the letterhead design, business profile, things like that, technical support and consultation for a whole year, web development and management. It's question time. Just in case you won't answer, we won't answer all of them, and in case you want us, consult at liveyourdream.co.ke. That's our email. These are the phone numbers, and you can also chatting, and the phone numbers are also at the footer of the slides. And just in case somebody wants to feel philanthropic enough and you want to give us something, we will not send you a bill. Just send to that pay bill number. It's there on the screen. It's there on the screen. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm ready for questions, inputs.
Yes, I
remarks.
have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I think you are saying that people buy,
yes,
from the people they know, they like, and trust.
People buy?
Okay, why do people buy? First of all, they need to know you or like you or trust you. Those are the 3 key things why people buy. Okay, so I'm just wondering, for us, we're just starting out. People rarely, they barely know you. So you cannot even talk about liking or trusting. You are not known. Yeah. And then, or you have been sent to a new territory where you are still new. So how do you go about it?
Good question. Good question. When you're starting up, there are a few things that people always need to take care of or need to put into consideration when they are starting. And this is a big problem. Most times we want to start from without. We can always start from within. Start from hot market, then warm market, then cold market. The people you know will lead you to the people you don't know. If, for example, that's Joshua, right? If I know you, Joshua, and I know you, you are able to introduce me to your friends, and your friends will know me and trust me, like me and trust me because of you. Just by using your name, riding on your name. Whenever you're starting, don't jump. It's always important to start small. The moment you've built your brand big enough, and now the brand is bigger than you, then people will trust that brand. that brand, now your name doesn't have to appear because they know that that brand delivers what it promises. So you start from the people you know. You start from the people who know you. That's the way it works.
Okay, thank you.
So I hope that answers you. If I've not yet done it well, you can let me know. But I'm ready for any other question. Question, comment, input. Yes.
Hello, my question. Yeah,
Yes.
what is the place of quality when selling?
What's the place of quality?
Yes.
When you're doing sales, yeah?
Yes.
Good. That's a good question. Long time ago, people only talked about quality and they thought that is the end of the story. The moment you have quality product, everybody will beat their road towards you. And we realized that along the way, many people started offering really quality product. And there was a time when quality was the only thing. Today, over and above quality, which you must have, you must also have these are the things that we've talked about. You must let people know about your product, first of all. Somebody says you must toot your own horn. If you imagine that somebody is going to toot your horn for you, or in other words, blow your trumpet for you, you're not realistic. So you must tell people about your product. Then give them what you promised. And that is now where trust is coming in. I've known you, Rhoda, that whenever we relate, when you tell me something, that is the way it is. You are not exaggerating anything. And then it will work because I will buy you. I've already bought you. If you tell me something, I will buy it. If I realize that it's not quality, then what will happen? You'll realize that the next time I shy away, you've betrayed your brand. So quality is there to deliver the promise that we've given to our prospects, to our customers. So we must have that quality in the first place. Most organizations fail in this because we do a lot of marketing, a lot of noise there. Then people buy, and then what? They buy once. Remember, I said business is in repeat business, repeat buying. We cannot just be buying, and not. We cannot be buying once and then end of the story. Yes, next person, somebody has a hand up. Alex. Alex. You can unmute and yes, Alex. Still not getting you. Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Paul.
now I'm getting you.
You can hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, talk now, I'm getting you.
Yes, now I have a comment.
Yes.
And perhaps you need to discuss about the unconventional ways of selling. One, luck. Is there an element of luck in selling? And number two, the unconventional ways of selling, because I've seen a lot of people succeed in selling using unconventional ways, like being sly. Where are those unconventional ways of selling placed in selling? Luck and being sly in business?
Whatever you are trying is not for you. Yeah. Okay. If I'm getting you clearly, you're trying to talk about that we need to comment on this element of salespeople coming with hyped and then just that they may get a check. And that also to 14 people about your